Hey, are you ready for a major brain workout? I have some fun riddles for you, and you'll have 10 seconds to solve each of them. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. Okay, here we go. Let's start with the easy ones to warm up. I'm 2 in a corner and 1 in a room. You won't find me in a house, but I'll be in a shelter. Can you guess what I am? Time's up. It's the letter R. Sunday, Steve and Dan went out to eat some pizza. Once they finished, the waiter brought them the bill. Steve didn't pay it, Dan didn't pay it either, yet no one stopped them as they left. How is this possible? Sunday, the most generous of the 3 friends, paid the bill. There are 5 oranges in your basket. You have 5 friends, and they all crave some vitamin C. You give each of them an orange, but still have 1 in the basket. How do you manage to do it? Well, you just present one of the friends with both an orange and the basket. You must really love them. Sam was cleaning windows on the 36th floor of an office building. Suddenly, the power went out, so the platform couldn't move up or down. How did he manage to get down without having to wait? No one said Sam was cleaning on the outside. He just took the stairs to walk out of the building. You are driving down the street and see 3 doors in front of you. One says unlimited chocolate, the other says unlimited money, and the third one says unlimited pizza. Which one do you open first? No matter what you prefer, it has to be the car door first of all. Here's a word puzzle for you. It's a 7-letter word and means something you can eat. If you rearrange the letters, the only possible word you can get will help your pain. Lose 2 letters, and it will become something that turns things into ruins. Lose 3 letters, and it becomes an adjective that means wise. Lose 4 letters, and you can measure time with it. What is the word? You can measure time in ages. Sage is another way of saying enlightened. Usage wears things down. Assuage can relieve the pain. So the word is sausage. Here is a strange combination of letters: O, T, T, F, F, S. It makes no sense to me, but can you figure out what it means and how to continue it? This is actually a list of the initial letters of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can continue the list with S, E, N, T, and so on. Nick has 2 friends that he wants to take to the movies, but he doesn't want to spend a fortune. Which way would it be cheaper, to take one friend to the movies twice or 2 friends at the same time? If Nick is paying, it makes more sense to go once but with 2 friends. Otherwise, he'll have to pay for himself twice and buy a total of 4 tickets instead of 3 tickets. Or he can wait until it comes out on Netflix. Jill assures everyone she can predict the score of any game before it starts. No one believes her at first, but when they do watch games together, it turns out she isn't lying. How does she make it? Jill isn't psychic in case you thought so. She knows that the score of any game is 0-0 before it starts. A man decided to build a house that would have all 4 sides facing south. He moved in and saw a bear outside his window. What color was the bear? It had to be white. The only place where you can have a house with all 4 sides facing south is the North Pole. Here's a mystery riddle. What can one make disappear by adding to it? Did you guess what it is? G can make 1 disappear by turning it into gone. No magic involved. Okay, I can tell you're ready for a real challenge. Moving on to the next level. Sally was traveling and saw a stranger she'd never met before. No one told what the person looks like, but she immediately knew who that person was. And no, it wasn't someone famous. How did she know who that guy was? It was one of her friend's twin brother. They look the same but live in different cities, so she's never met the guy before but knew he existed. Prince Charming was on his way to rescue his one and only true love from the dragon. By the end of the summer, he met a witch on the way. She offered him help in exchange for 1 wish he'd have to fulfill for her. He refused, and she said he'd never meet his true love as he won't be able to cross the river of tears without her help. Yet, 100 days later, he managed to cross the river no problem. How did he do it? Prince Charming met the witch in late August, so 100 days later, the river was covered with ice, and he just walked across it. Yes, even rivers of tears freeze in the wintertime. A tourist was staying in a single room at the hotel during his business trip. In the evening, he went to bed but couldn't fall asleep. After that, he called someone, didn't say anything, and then fell asleep. Whom did he call and why? The tourist called his neighbor, who was snoring way too loudly. The ringing was enough to wake him up, so he didn't have to say a word. The snoring stopped, and the tourist fell asleep. Jake called his wife and said he would be home at 8 o'clock. He was by the door at 8:05. The wife was super angry at him and said she'd file for divorce if that repeats in the future. Can you guess why she got so mad? The answer is pretty simple. There are 2 8 o'clocks in a day. Jake promised to be home at 8 p.m., but only was there at 8:05 a.m. the next day. No wonder the wife got so mad at him. You were playing ping pong with your friends. Then the last ball fell into a narrow metal pipe that's surrounded by concrete and is under the ground. You have some tools to choose from to rescue the ball: a phone monopod, a spoon, and a saw. What will you do? As great as they sound, none of these tools can actually help you. Instead, you just have to pour some water into the pipe and the ball will float up to the surface. A man is trapped in a dark and scary room. There are 2 doors or 2 ways out of it. He can see through the first door there is a room made of magnifying glass in there. And because that room is sunlit, anyone who enters won't pass through the fire alive. In another room there is a hungry tiger. Where should he go to escape safely? The man has to wait till it's nighttime and the sun will be down. Then the first room will be safe to walk through. My brother is 600 times younger than some of our relatives. No one believes me, but it's true. Can you figure out if I'm telling the truth in 10 seconds? Yep, I'm not lying. My brother is just 1 month old, and my grandmother is 50 years old, so it's all mathematically correct. 2 towns stand on the opposite sides of the river. In one of them, everyone is always telling the truth, and in the other one, everyone is always lying. They like to visit each other. Can you find out which town you are in asking a random person just one question? Time's up. Yes, you can. To find out the truth, you have to ask, "Are you a guest here?" If the person says yes, you are in Liar's Town. If they say no, you are in the town where honest people live. Two fathers and two sons decide to spend some quality time and go fishing. Each of them catches just one fish. When they get home, they just have 3 fish with them. They didn't lose one on the way, so why is it so? No one said there were 4 people in the first place. They were a grandfather, his son, and his grandson. Mrs. Jones was making apricot jam. She was following the instructions but got distracted. All the apricots were already in the pot and she stirred them up. Then she realized she had to count them before stirring them up to know how much sugar to add. Did she manage to make some good jam in the end? Luckily for her entire family, she did. She just counted the pits to know the exact number of apricots in the pot. A man was driving a huge truck with the headlights off. The moon wasn't there to light the way. The dog ran out onto the road right in front of the car. How did the driver manage to see it and stop the vehicle not to hurt it? Tricky, right? Now, I didn't say it was dark outside. It all happened on a bright sunny day, so the driver didn't really need headlights or the moon to see what's in front of him. An old man had 3 sons. When it was time to decide who would get his fortune, he didn't know what to do. He wanted to leave the money to the son who would spend it wisely. Then he gave each of the sons some coins and told them to come back with something that would fill the entire room. The elder brother brought straw, but it could barely even cover the floor. The middle one brought bricks, but there was not enough of them either. The youngest brother turned out to be the smartest. What did he buy? That genius just bought a candle and a box of matches. The light filled the room at once. If it is 1,800 miles to America, 1,200 miles to Japan, 2,400 miles to New Zealand, and 1,400 miles to Brazil, how far is Morocco? I hope 10 seconds will be enough to solve this geography mystery. Well, in fact, it doesn't have to do with geography. It's all math. Morocco is 1,700 miles away, as each vowel in the country's names is worth 300 miles and the consonants are worth 200 miles. Have you managed to solve all the riddles in the first 2 levels? Congrats! But it's time for level 3. Let's see if you can make it through. In this level, I'll give you 15 seconds for each riddle. The doctor made a prescription for your grandpa. He has 4 pills. 2 will help his back, and the other 2 his headache. The problem is that he mixed up the pills, and they all look and smell exactly the same. He must take 1 for the back and 1 for the headache at the moment. Can you help him take the right medications? Your 15 seconds start now. It's impossible to tell which pill is which by looking at them, so your only option is to cut them all in halves and let Grandpa take half of each pill. A famous actor filed a lawsuit against a paparazzi who was getting too deep into her personal life. When it was time for the big court day, it turned out the 2 lawyers knew each other. More than that, one of them was the father of the other one's son. How is that possible? wife was fighting against the father of her son in court. The two lawyers are just married to each other. The clock strikes 6 times at 6 o'clock. The first and the last strike are 30 seconds apart. Can you tell how long it will take the clock to strike 12 times when it's midnight? Time's up. Did you think it was 60 seconds? Not really. The right answer is 66 seconds. There were 5 intervals between 6 strikes at 6 o'clock. If we divide 30 by 5, we'll see that each interval between 2 strikes lasts 6 seconds. There will be 11 of such intervals at midnight, so it will take the clock 66 seconds to strike 12 times at midnight. There was a man standing on top of a lonely mountain, totally frozen and holding a match in his hand. Do you have any guesses how he got there? He was flying in a hot air balloon with his friend. When they saw a mountain they couldn't fly around, they took off their clothes to make it lighter and go higher. But the plan failed, so they broke 2 matches and picked them. The one who had the shortest match had to jump out, and the second one flew away. Mike tells everyone he's unique. He was just 17 the day before yesterday. Next year, he will be 20 already. How can it be real? Mike was born on December 31st. So if today is January 1st, it's correct to say that he was 17 the day before yesterday. He turned 18 the next day, and he will be 19 on the last day of this year and 20 the next year. Millions of tourists from all over the world dream of visiting the Eiffel Tower. Guy de Maupassant, however, despised it. Every day he had lunch in the one place in Paris where it couldn't be seen. What was that place? Time's up. Are you ready? He just ate in the restaurant that was located at the base of the tower. He couldn't see the tower from there. Brad sat in the coffee shop and found a fly in his drink. He asked the waitress to bring him another coffee. After he'd received a new cup and taken a sip, he got angry. Brad knew it was the same cup of coffee that he had in the first place. How did he know he had the same cup of coffee? Well, in fact, it doesn't take a coffee expert to get this one right. The second coffee was sweet already. Brad had put sugar in his first cup before finding the fly. There are 3 switches in the basement. Each belongs to one of the 3 light bulbs in the attic. You can turn the switches on and off and leave them in any position. How can you tell which switch turns on which light bulb if you are only allowed to go upstairs once? Your 15 seconds are up. First, you have to keep the first bulb on for a few minutes. It will get warm. Then you have to switch it off, switch another one on, go to the room with bulbs, touch them, and find the warm one, which was switched on as the first one, and then you can figure out which of the others is which as well. Once upon a time, there was once a philosopher who forgot to wind up his huge ancient clock on the wall. Obviously, there were no computers, phones, radio, or TV back then. He went to his friend's house on foot on a straight, lonely road, stayed the night there, then came back home. He knew exactly how to set the clock then. How did the walk help him find out the time? I won't give you the answer for this one. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Stacy and Sarah live miles apart from each other, and they love to exchange gifts by mail. This time, Stacy has a special gift for Sarah. It's a golden locket with her initials, and she doesn't want it lost or stolen. Stacy has a set of locks, so she can secure the gift box easily. The problem is that Sarah doesn't have the keys to her locks. She has her own set of locks with keys that Stacy doesn't have. Stacy can't send the lock box and the key together, obviously. Do you think it's possible for them to somehow get the locket delivered safely? It wasn't easy, but they found a way to do it. Stacy put the bracelet in the box, added a lock to it, and sent it over to Sarah. Sarah just added one of her locks to the box when she received it. Then she mailed it back to Stacy. When she got it, Stacy removed her lock and sent it back to Sarah. This is how she got the key and was able to unlock the box. So there,